Okay, we're on a roll now. So here we go, example number 2. Using the tangent ratio to determine the measure of an angle. So we've already kind of done this. So determine the measure of angle B to the nearest whole angle. First step, we have to label our triangle because we can't really do anything until we've labeled our triangle. We know we're talking about angle B. We know we're talking about this angle right here. So we label our triangle. This side would be our hypotenuse, opposite to the 90-degree angle, longest side of the triangle. This side is opposite to the angle we're talking about. It's our opposite side. This side is beside our angle that we're talking about. It is our adjacent side. So we now know that our opposite side is 9 and our adjacent side is 13. Find the measure of angle B to the nearest whole angle. So the only thing we know at this point, obviously, of our three, there's my SOHCAHTOA of our three trig ratios, sine, cosine, and tangent. The only thing we know anything about is tangent. So clearly we know we have to use tangent. So I write down my tangent formula. And this is no different than any of those surface area or volume questions where you start with a formula and then you substitute and calculate. So here's our formula, tangent. There's another way I can determine that I have to use tangent because the only thing I know about trig right now is tangent, so we would use it. But over here, if I look at my triangle, I look at the labels that I have, okay, I think to myself, well, here's our right angle triangle. I'm looking for angle B. I'm looking for angle B, and I know my opposite side, and I know my adjacent side. What trig function relates opposite and adjacent? What trig function relates opposite and adjacent? I go back and I look at my acronym, SOHCAHTOA. What trig ratio relates opposite and adjacent? Well, sine relates opposite and hypotenuse. Cosine relates adjacent and hypotenuse. Tangent relates opposite and adjacent. So I would use tangent in order to do any calculations. So that's another way, and you're going to get to that point because as soon as you learn what sine and cosine are, well, now you have to make the decision and choice. So determine the measure of angle B. Here's tangent of an angle. Here's our formula. Tangent of an angle is opposite over adjacent. I know that it is tangent of B, which is equal to opposite over adjacent. Well, do I know what my opposite side is and what my adjacent side is? Well, yes, I do. Tangent of B is opposite, which is 9 over 13. Okay. Now remember, this gets us to the point where I have this. If I do this division, I get 0.692307,692. Okay. That's our ratio. So the tangent B ratio is this. Now we're being asked what the angle is. Angle B, well, if tangent B is 0.6923, then the inverse tangent of that, the inverse tangent of 0.692307,692 is 34.6951 or 35 degrees. Okay. So you have to remember that if one is looking for the ratio, the other one is looking for the angle. Okay. Hopefully that all made sense. If not, then I'm assuming that you'll come to class with a bunch of questions, which is perfectly fine. I anticipate those and always welcome those. We'll come back. Oh, this is still part of example 2, so we'll continue here. Determine the measure of angle A to the nearest whole angle. So now we have our same triangle, but it wants us to determine the measure of angle A. So if we already know angle B, to be 35 degrees, and I know that this is 90 degrees, I could simply say 180 minus 90 minus 35 and get 55 degrees for angle A. Okay. But the whole idea of this question is to give you a little bit of practice at using the tangent ratio. So I'm going to take our triangle. I'm going to redraw our triangle. Something like this. Here's my right angle. This side was 9, this side was 13, this is angle C, this was angle B, this is angle A. And I'm going to do the calculation again for angle A. So if this is angle A, this is what we're talking about, is angle A. This is my opposite side. This is my adjacent side. This is my hypotenuse, which really doesn't matter in this question. What trig function uses adjacent and opposite? Well, we know that that's tangent. So I write down my formula. Tangent of some angle is equal to opposite over adjacent. Tangent, in this case, of A, substituting what I know, of A is equal to 13 over 9. I do that calculation. Tangent of A is equal to 1.444444. Yes, decimals are important. Don't ever round to the end of a question. 44444. Well, if tangent of A is 1.44444, then angle A has to be the inverse tangent of, the inverse tangent of 1.4444. Which, if you punch into your handy dandy calculator, gives you 55.3048 or 55 degrees. Speedy and quick, and all in a quick little nutshell. We've gone from calculating ratios to calculating angles. That's one of the types of calculations, well, two of the types, find the ratio, find the angle, that's all the same calculation, but one of the types of questions. There's one other type of question in which, well, what do we do if we have the angle? Well, if we have the angle, we have an extra little step to, not an extra step to do, but a different step to do. And we'll see that in example number 3.